Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, where the most captivating Vietnamese fairy tales come to life. Today, I will tell you a very famous story from our folklore, called Saint Giong. During the time of the Hung Kings, there was an elderly woman who lived alone. One morning, as she went to visit her field, she suddenly noticed a footprint that had crushed several rows of eggplants. She exclaimed, "Oh! Whose foot is this, so large?" Suddenly, she felt a shiver run down her spine as she placed her foot into the strange footprint. From that moment, she became pregnant. After the full term, she gave birth to a chubby baby boy and named him Giong. However, even by the time the boy was 3 years old, he still lay on his back, only asking for food, unable to sit up, crawl, speak, or laugh. At that time, the invaders came to plunder our land. The army was very cruel, led by a general named Van. Wherever they went, they burned houses, killed people, and stole their possessions. The Hung King's army went to battle many times, but they could not defeat them. King Hung, deeply worried, urgently sent messengers throughout the country to search for talented generals to help save the nation. One day, the messenger arrived in the village of the boy Giong. Hearing the royal proclamation calling for talented individuals, Giong's mother, while rocking her son, jokingly said, "My dear son, you're so slow to walk and talk, how will you ever be able to go fight the invaders to help the king?" To her surprise, Giong looked at his mother and opened his mouth, speaking for the first time, "Mother, call the messenger here for me." After speaking, he fell silent again. Giong's mother was both happy and scared, so she hurried to tell the neighbors. Everyone who came to their house considered it a strange occurrence. Finally, one person suggested, "Let's invite the messenger to see what he wants." When the king's messenger entered and saw little Giong, he asked, "You are a 3-year-old child just learning to speak. What do you want me to come here for?" Giong replied very confidently, "Tell the king to forge me an iron horse, an iron sword, an iron armor, and an iron helmet. I will drive away the fierce invaders." Everyone who heard this was extremely astonished, thinking that a divine being had appeared. The messenger immediately rode back to report to the king. Upon hearing this, King Hung was overjoyed and ordered the blacksmiths to gather all the iron they could find to forge the horse, sword, armor, and helmet as requested by the boy. Once everything was forged, the items were unimaginably heavy. Dozens of men tried to lift the sword but could not budge it. King Hung had to send thousands of soldiers to find ways to transport them to little Giong. When she heard the news that the soldiers were about to carry the iron horse to the village, Giong's mother hurriedly ran home to tell her son, "My dear, the king's business is not a game. The soldiers are rumbling in the field outside. What should we do now?" Upon hearing this, Giong immediately sat up and said, "Don't worry about the fighting, mother. But you must give me plenty to eat." His mother quickly cooked rice for him, but every time she made a pot, Giong devoured it all at once. With each pot of rice he ate, Giong grew a little bigger and asked for more food. The more his mother fed him, the larger he grew, and before long, he had become a remarkably strong young man. When the rice ran out, his mother called out to the villagers. Everyone eagerly brought rice, sweet potatoes, buffalo meat, wine, fruits, and cakes, filling the yard to the brim. But no matter how much they brought, Giong ate it all up and continued to demand more food. After that, Giong said, "Mother, find some fabric for me to wear." The villagers quickly brought silk fabric to make clothes for Giong. However, Giong's body grew in an extraordinary way. As soon as the clothes were made, they became tight and short, so more silk had to be brought to patch them up. Before long, Giong's head nearly touched the ceiling. Just as everyone was still in disbelief, the soldiers were straining to carry the iron horse. Sword, armor, and helmet to him. Giong stepped out of the house, stretched his arms, and suddenly became tall and sturdy, his legs longer than a pole, and shouted with a voice like thunder, "I am a general of heaven!" Then Giong donned his iron armor, put on the iron helmet, and took the sword, dancing around in circles. After bidding farewell to his mother and the villagers, he leaped onto the iron horse. The iron horse suddenly reared up, spewing forth a jet of bright red fire. Giong spurred his legs, and the horse galloped like the wind, taking long strides of dozens of meters at a time. In the blink of an eye, the horse charged towards the enemy camp, which was spread out across several forests. Giong's sword flashed like lightning, and for every soldier that rushed out, one would fall. The horse breathed fire, scorching the rows of enemy camps, igniting even the surrounding forests, but the enemy general, Vong, continued to scream and rally his troops. Giong fought even harder, with enemy corpses scattered all around. Suddenly, his sword broke, but Giong was not flustered at all. He quickly uprooted the bamboo bushes on both sides of the road and fiercely struck at the enemy troops trying to hold their ground under their general's orders. It wasn't long before the enemy soldiers began to scatter and flee in all directions, and Vong was struck down, his body shattered. The remaining enemy troops begged for mercy. The army of King Hung, along with the villagers, quickly tied them up. In less than half a day, Giong had rid the country of its troubles. By that time, Giong's horse had made its way to the foot of Soc Mountain. Here, Giong removed his armor and helmet, then both he and his horse soared straight up into the sky. After the victory, to honor the hero, King Hung ordered the construction of a temple dedicated to Giong in the countryside and bestowed upon him the title of Phu Dong Thien Vong, Heavenly Prince of Phu Dong. Today, we can still see remnants such as a series of circular ponds stretching from Kim On, the Phuc to Soc Sun, which are said to be the hoofprints of Saint Giong's horse. The forest that was scorched by the iron horse's fiery breath is now known as the Burning Village. If you enjoyed this story, please support me with a like and subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next videos.